Welcome, everybody, to another episode of From the Music Store with your hosts, Jason.
And Jeremy.
Hey, everybody, guess what? This is really exciting. Today, this show now, hearing, playing, is our 50th show.
50!
50! 50! That's right. And the crowd went crazy. We've had some great shows. We've had some real funny shows. We've had some great guests. We've learned a lot. We have figured out what the heck we're doing. Actually, I don't think we figured anything out at all. If you like this episode, there are 49 other episodes that you can go back and listen to. We'd like to say a big fat thank you to WBNJ, our local radio station, and Mr. Bill Clinton for being a supporter of what we do here. We had a very interesting week. You know, we've been a little bit sporadic with some of our shows, but we had a very interesting week because it finally happened. It finally happened. Not exactly the way we wanted it to, but it's a start. We finally got our very own Jeremy Renner, my co-host and cohort, to meet and be on television with the real Jeremy Renner.
I'll just say the other. I'm just as real as
you know
he
what?
is.
You're right. Yeah, you're not like you're a cyborg or anything.
That's right.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, why would he be the real Jeremy? Maybe you're the real Jeremy Renner.
Well,
let's start with, tell everybody what show you were on.
Okay, so I was on an episode of the Kelly Clarkson show, which I'll cover my bases here.
Which aired yesterday.
The show
May
aired
30th.
yesterday, May 30th, on NBC. You can check your local listings to see when it airs, wherever you may be. So yes, NBC, the Kelly Clarkson show.
Rockefeller Center, New York City.
Rockefeller Center, 50th, West 50th.
Were you in the same building that they do Saturday Night Live in?
I would assume.
Is it the one with the NBC marquee outside?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Well, they have a couple different entrances. Like one says blah, 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 blah room, and I walked in the door with a marquee that said the Rainbow Room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's where I was.
Nice. So, we were here at the shop, was it 2 weeks ago?
I think it was like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out, and Jeremy comes up, he goes, hey man, check out this text message. Do you think this is baloney or what? My wife just got this text message, and it was basically...
Well, the associate producer, to help consolidate the story, they got my number from a directory, and she accidentally texted my wife because she was looking at the directory, she's looking at the names and the numbers.
What directory? She pulled like an old-fashioned phone book?
Like what
directory?
The white pages are still around or something like that?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's a cell phone, so how would they even...
Why don't you just like Google in the Facebooks and the LinkedIn's?
I suppose, maybe. Well, I'm not...
All right.
I don't know how.
How many Jeremy Renners are there besides you?
Well, she found 2 other ones.
That's it?
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even know if she knew where I lived, because I'm like, of course, living within close proximity to New York City obviously helps make this happen. I didn't even ask where the other 2 guys were. Could you be that lucky to find 2 more Jeremy Renners in the tri-state area? I don't know. But, so they send the text to my wife, and it says, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm the associate producer of the Kelly Clarkson show, and your namesake is going to be on the show, and we were wondering if you'd like to send in an audition video to have a little tiny guest spot. We find out, I tell you, we were able to find her on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we called my wife over at Sirius XM and said, can you, because she's got the pro LinkedIn, said, is this legit?
Turns out, your wife said, absolutely. She really is real and really does work for the show. So I called the number. My wife screenshot it, so I had the number right there. I let my wife know she's real, and my wife is freaking out, thinking, this is a scam. I go, well, I'm not. When I call up, I'm not leading with my social security number.
If they ask for your credit card and the social, don't do it.
Yeah, give us your social and then meet us on this back alley in New York City. Everything will be fine. No, that's not what I did. She was very excited that I called. I was like, hey, did you texted my wife looking for me? I know that sounds kind of odd. And she goes, oh my goodness, is this Jeremy Renner? I said, indeed.
This is a Jeremy Renner.
This is one of them. So the way that she described it was, what we would like you to do would be, and I don't know if they do this all the time. I don't watch the show, so I don't, not for lack of trying. I'm always at work. I don't know what they do, but I guess every once in a while, before they go to commercial break, they kick it to an audience member, and the audience member says a little blurb about themselves, and then they say, coming back up next, we're going to have so-and-so on the show. And that's what they wanted me to do. And they thought it was kind of funny that I had the same name. So she says to me, is there anything that you could tell me about yourself? And anything interesting that ties you to Jeremy Renner besides your name? And I said, well,
yeah, quite a bit.
Oddly enough, so now listeners out there, just so you know, maybe this will stop happening, maybe it won't. I don't know. I have had a number of people show up to gigs that I play expecting to see the actor.
Well, and to be clear, gigs that you play as the Jeremy Renner Trio.
As the Jeremy Renner Trio. So they
see the name
correct.
On the paper or the marquee or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Or social media post from the place I'm playing or the paper, whatever. And because of where we live, right next to, I play a lot on Long Beach Island. And there are some, famous musicians and actors who have been known to vacation there. Now, the other fact about him, in case people don't know, is that Jeremy Renner has a band, and he writes music, and he sings.
Is it a band, or is it just him as like a musical thing?
Yeah, I would assume he hires people, so it's just under his name.
Because there's some actors and stuff that like they've been playing, like Keanu Reeves has been playing with the same Black Dog, Hair Dog, or we talked about them a long time, and other guys like that, like they're buds and they're bands, and they play together.
Correct.
I don't know.
Bacon Brothers is another one.
Bacon Brothers, right?
Yep, they're another one. No, it's just under his name. So he has a studio at his house, from what I understand. So he's able to hire whoever he wants, and he writes music. But he does perform it, and he actually has had some stuff apparently appear in movies, soundtracks, I guess. So
and he does have a new song out, which he plugged on the show.
Correct. I believe it's called "Waiting" or "Wait for Me" or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not getting it right, but I know that's in the title.
And we'll play it out for everybody.
So that happens. And when I said to the person I was speaking to on the phone, the associate producer, you do know that he has a band and sings and plays guitar, right? She goes, oh, yes, I do. I go, well, that's exactly what I do. Yeah. That's just like, oh, my goodness. And that's when I said, I've actually had people show up.
Right.
Hoping to see him, thinking they're going to see him at wherever I play. It's really funny. One of the places that I do play says, when we put your name on the marquee, every single time, people will see it. They call the bar up and go, are you really having and he said every single time. Really funny. So the conversation that I had with the associate producer, she goes, this is all fantastic stuff. You're giving me a ton to work with. I'm going to write a little script for you. Would you please send in an audition video for this? I said, yeah, I can. I guess I can do that. The audition video script was pretty much what our conversation was about, 30 to 45 seconds. And you said to me, you got to play.
Oh, yeah.
So I played guitar.
I'm shameless in my self-promotion sometimes.
So I play guitar a little bit. And I told her, I said, organically, just so you know, it has come up where not just you have suggested there needs to be a Jeremy Renner versus Jeremy Renner guitar showdown. My friends have said,
that's what we've been desperately trying to get together here.
She's like, my friends have said, why don't you get on social media and make this happen?
Okay, so if he's listening now that you guys are
exactly
like this.
Now we're buds.
Yeah, now that you're buds, you'll be like, it's on, Renner. Come on, don't chicken out.
That's right. It's right. Let's do it. Let's collab. Let's do this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, they accept my audition video. I make the video. I kind of stick to her script a little bit. I add a couple little things here and there, and I played, which they didn't think I was going to do, which I did. I wait a couple days. They accept my video. We get on the phone. We're talking, and they're asking me a couple of really funny questions. They're like, are you a SAG member, a Screen Actors Guild? I said, no, I'm not. They said, are you planning on being any daytime or nighttime talk shows upcoming? I'm like, you know what?
I'm planning on being on all of them, yes, SNL and everything. I don't know whether they're going to call or not.
I'm gonna have to cancel Conan again. So I said no to that. And she said, are you planning on being on TV in the next year? I said no. So this is all great. And she says to me, by the way, we're floating the idea of having you play on the show. She said, can you do that? And I'm like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
I get a text message later that day, double checking. Hey, can you bring your guitar to the studio? Can you play? I'm like, yeah, 100%, in some capacity. They're like, whether we have you play with him, by yourself, something. Right. We want to have you do it. I said, sure. And she said, just make sure it's something of your own creation or something you just kind of make up. I said, that is totally in my wheelhouse. I'll just make up something on the spot.
Yeah.
Right before I left my house to go to the city, they did call me and say, don't bring your guitar. And the reason why, which was explained to me, they said the producers were very nice. They said, we completely understand that you could totally make something up. However, NBC is worried that they want to know exactly what you're going to do, because just in case it could ever sound like a song, that can't happen. Yeah. They said, we understand that you could make something up. They don't get that. But they did have me do something else. So if you watch the show, you can go on and see it. I think there are clips now on YouTube on the Kelly Clarkson show. So if you go on YouTube,
well, you have to be so mysterious about it because I think that's really funny.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what happened. So basically, they got a bunch of facts from me and the other Jeremy, and they played a little game. One of the other hosts, guests on the show, they had host this game show called Renner or Renner, and in which Kelly Clarkson had to guess which fact belonged to which of us, and we came down and we stood on these podiums that lit up when she got the answer right or wrong. Cool. And so I did the commercial spot, by the way. I say who I am. I stand up. I'm in the house. I stand up, and he looks at me. He looks right at me when I stand up. I'm standing up for over a minute.
Did you meet him prior to that?
No, but we met.
Again, we talked about this. You met on stage.
We met
at the gig. You met at the gig.
Met at the gig. Met on stage. I come down. He shakes my hand. We're chit chatting for a few. And that's when we play this little game. So,
so you took it out. Is that how you say it? Take us out? You took it to commercial.
I took us to commercial. I said, and when we come back, more with Jeremy Lee. That's his middle name. I'm Jeremy William. And I said a couple blurbs about myself before we went to commercial, and then we go and we play this game. So it was fun. She's answered much. There was actually 10 questions. The show edits it down to pretty much just the answers that she got correct, probably out of interest of time. And also, too, they want to make everyone sit through a bunch of questions that she got wrong. But in studio, it was a lot of fun. The answers that she got wrong were really funny. She's really competitive, and her reactions when she got it wrong, where she's like, she'd swear, I thought that was you! And I'm giving her a poker face for all the questions, because that's what they told me to do.
You said she was dropping some F-bombs, too, right?
Yeah, she's competitive person. Yeah. She wasn't pleased when she got the answer wrong. Well, it was fun.
Maybe that's why they had to do creative editing, because
I suppose
she would have been bleeping herself out.
I suppose. Well, they're the edgy daytime TV show.
Ooh, edgy daytime.
They're the edgy, yeah, that's the edgy. They're the edgy show. But whenever any question that we had, we got to kind of give a little blurb about what it was, and one of them, which I'll just give some insider info. One of them was really funny. For those who don't know, she was the very first season winner of American Idol. That's how she got her start.
Right.
And the runner-up was Justin Guarini. Years after this show airs, and he does his thing, he wound up being cast in a production of Rent at a local theater around here, bringing in Broadway stars and other people to be principal roles in their shows as a draw, of course, to come see the show. And he was cast in Rent. And in Rent, one of the main characters actually plays guitar on stage. Now, I'm playing guitar in the pit orchestra for one of their upcoming shows that was in rehearsals. We were doing Grease. And who better to come up to ask if they could rent a guitar from than the guitar player of the show. And so they come up to me like, can we rent a guitar for Justin Guarini to play on stage?
But was he pitching himself on American Idol as like, I can play guitar and sing?
Not back then, but I guess he's always played guitar.
Oh.
So years later, fast forward, he's doing a production of Rent. The artistic producer had some pull, and he has now Justin Guarini's in the show.
So now you rent / get him a guitar.
I get him a guitar. I rent him a guitar. I bring it in. He's like he's like, thanks so much, man. I'm so glad you're able to rent this thing to me. Thank you so much. For $50 a week is what they paid me. But I made $50 for doing nothing. I just had the guitar. So that was the runner-up of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after season 1, Fox tries to capitalize on the success of this creation that they have, and they make a movie called From Justin to Kelly.
On June 20th,
come with us to Miami. It's not my scene.
Music will bring two strangers together.
Hey, they go from the beach.
And nothing can come between them.
I'm gonna ask her out again.
Except all their friends.
So what does a girl need to do to get you?
There are a million hot girls here, and you're still talking about the one girl who blew you off.
Kelly Clarkson.
I should take a chance.
Justin Guarini.
This girl is special.
In the musical event of the summer. From Justin to Kelly.
A musical movie, like a beach romp, in which I don't really know the premise because I never saw it. I just know it wasn't a very lauded film.
And she was like 18 or 19 or something at the time. She was young when she won that.
I think like 19 or 20, something like that, really young. Neither one of them are actors. So they just throw them into this movie trying to capitalize on the success that they just had. And it's just a fun musical thing, something that's now forever. One of my facts about myself, and because I had to say it because of the connection, they got this fact from me. And the question to Kelly was, which Jeremy rented a guitar to Justin Guarini for $50 a week. And she's like, are you kidding me? And I don't know if she got the answer right or wrong. I think she got it right. She guessed it was me because she figured that, like...
And that was pre-Jeremy Renner being popular as an actor, I think. That's going back like 20-some... How long is that now?
What's that?
That first season.
Oh, it's 2002, 2000,
yeah,
something like that.
Years.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
It's a while back. So she gets it. I think she got it right, and she guessed it was me. She's flabbergasted that it was me who did this. And so she's like, tell me, but how the heck... And I explained the story, how I was working for the theater. But I drop a joke. And I had this joke ready to go. Only if I was to meet her ahead of time, I was going to say this to her. So when I found out what they were going to do, I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to drop this joke on camera. And I thought it was great. And I did hit my wife to it. I was like, is this joke good? She thought it was really funny.
Okay.
But it's not written for anybody else. It was written for Kelly.
Right.
I go, yeah, so I rented my guitar to him. I said, you know what's crazy? All those years ago, meeting Justin Guarini, I said, fast forward to now, I'm meeting you. I go, in my life, I have truly gone from Justin to Kelly. She says it. When I say it, her head just tossed back, and she's like, oh my. Only a couple audience members laughed. I guess maybe it just went under their radar, or they were just too young and or too old. But the people who did laugh, the crew.
Yeah.
The crew thought that they all were snickering. They all thought that was a great joke, and it made it to the cutting room floor.
Always your good stuff.
I didn't make it into the show.
And that's kind of like a little interesting thing in that when you watch the show, these daytime shows, and it's, they do all these things and bits, and they go for interviews, cut to commercials, and you're like watching it, and you're thinking, this is all happening
right in real time.
Even
if you know it's not live, you just think, well, they just kind of went from one segment to the other.
Yeah.
Some of that is true, but yes, a lot of it is filmed out of order, and
then chopped up, right? Your bit was much longer than what ended up on.
Well, they needed 10 questions worth for her to get 5 answers right, because if she did, then the audience won a prize. But
what if she didn't get any right? Then the audience wouldn't have won the prize.
I suppose.
What was the prize the audience won?
It was it was great. It was $200 gift certificate to Brooks Running,
which is Jeremy Renner.
Correct.
Is a spokesperson
for the shoe. Yep.
And you get a shoe, and you get a shoe.
But there's a whole lot of moving pieces, and I gotta tell you, and I made sure to say this in an email to the associate producer once they sent me a bunch of photos that I had taken of me when I was at the show, was that their crew, fantastic. When I walked in, from the moment I got into guest relations at NBC, to the makeup artist, to the PA who came and got me, to the sound people, to the director of the show who was kind of let me know what was going on, even the cameramen after they went to a commercial, well, quote unquote, because it's not live, but they were like, so man, what's your band like? What do? You play guitar? Cool. Everyone was so kind, so cool, but they all have a lot of jobs to do, and man, they make it seem like it is very seamless. They're just banging it all out, and man, they all have their jobs down pat. I mean, they're pros. I mean, we're talking. It's NBC. It's NBC. But there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of crew members, and they're getting a big job done, and that's just the thing. Like, there are a lot of people you don't see, and I think maybe some people aren't in the dark about this, but just in case you didn't know, there are so many moving parts to get that done. And what's really cool is that when you saw, now I hope I'm not giving too much away, but karaoke is how they open the show.
Is that what they call it? Karaoke?
Karaoke.
Oh, I missed that part.
She opens the show with either a cover or one of her own songs.
So every episode she always performs?
Yes.
Every show?
Every show.
Oh.
And the band's really playing. And they're pretty loud because the drummer's not playing an electronic kit. I don't think I saw an amplifier on the stage. So they're running direct. Maybe they have an ISO cab, or maybe nowadays digital trickery has gotten so good. There are digital things out there that just sound like real amplifiers. But it is pumped into the house. So the band, they all have in-ear monitors so they can hear what they're doing. But they do pump it in, and it's pretty.
Was it rocking? Was it like being at a show?
It's pretty darn loud. I mean, the volume has to match a real acoustic drum set, and he is going hard. So it feels like a rock show when they're doing it. I gotta say, I mean, it wasn't like crushing, but I was surprised at just about how loud it was. And Kelly is singing her butt off. She is just...
Yeah, I saw it, and she like came off like was schwitzing a little bit.
Well, it's because she said...
well, this was it. I mean, you've led me in a little fact I didn't really know.
What's that?
Well, that she did it like multiple times.
That's the thing. She did it a couple times. She did do it, and it was funny
was
because...
the third take the good? Because she was sweaty and like glossy when she...
Right, well, the first time... It's a song she hasn't performed in a while. They recorded it back in 2009, so she probably has to like, okay, I gotta get this back in my head again. And she even says on the show, it's always... You know, when you're in the studio, you think, oh yeah, let's do this. And just like on TV, a lot of times recorded music is kind of pieced together. You record it chunk,
Yeah.
and the magic of editing and the, you know, the person who's mixing it puts the whole thing together. Then you got to go, oh my goodness, I have to perform this live. How do I have a second to breathe?
Yeah, no stops, no
stops. And that particular song in general, which I wasn't familiar with, hearing her do it, it's go. She really didn't have a second to breathe. And she came off, especially doing it a couple times. She did it once, forgot the lyrics, did it twice, was like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know we were going to cut to the guitar solo and do this. We got to do it again. But each time, what's funny is, that was the last thing that they recorded at our taping there at NBC.
Oh, the intro was the last thing that they did. Oh, because they said to all the guests, everybody, you can go home, and now Kelly... Because what if she had needed 10 takes? Everybody's going to sit there and like, you kidding me?
Well, that's the thing.
Was the audience still there? They let the audience go home?
No. We had to sit there, and we needed to get our energy up.
Every time.
And make it feel like it's the beginning of the show. I'm sorry if I'm giving too much away, but it... And there we were. I mean, we got to bring it. So it was a lot. It was fun, though. It was very interesting, but it was a whole lot of fun.
How was it to hear her in a room, like actually singing as a person?
Well,
like,
she warmed up first.
Oh, she did.
So that she had her in-ear monitors in, and
she just like paced around, like doing all stuff.
No, they were playing the song for her. In her
like
ears.
in the recorded version, and she was like kind of riffing along with it.
Correct. And the band, I don't know if the band either A was playing or they just gave her some other. I'm pretty sure they were just giving a track to her, and she's singing it. I mean, and she's just doing it. There is no auto-tune. You're hearing that woman just do it. And props to her, because first of all, her voice is nuts. She's a powerhouse singer.
Yeah.
And I know that about her. I mean,
but it's different when you see somebody in, like, when you're like there in a room with them. You know what I mean?
Well, it's even different than seeing them in concert, because it's like, okay, but there's a lot of glitz and glam to a concert.
Right.
You're just watching somebody go, I got to rehearse this for a second in front of all you people. And she's legit, man. Her vocals are... I mean, I've always loved the tune Since You've Been Gone.
Yeah.
And I've watched that show, or watched that song live on YouTube now. Of course, it's many years old, but she's real deal. She crushes it, man. Crushes it. And I mean, I don't think she's touring that much anymore. She has 2 young kids, so she's busy with the show. And I actually even overheard her saying to some of the audience members, because she had just been... she just did a show in AC. And she said, I'll go to AC. I'll do that. Maybe a show, here...
Foxwoods or
I'll
whatever.
Bounce around New York.
Yeah.
I'll go to AC. But that's all I really want to do right now. I don't have time. I got the show that I'm... Kelly Clarkson
Well, she's got
show.
the dream gig. Like, you get to show up, you get to, like, play with a band and sing every day of your taping. Mm-hmm. So you get your creative outlet there. And, of course, she could be in the studio whenever she wants. And then she does a cool show.
Yeah.
What is she... I mean, as a creative person, she's like, cool, that's enough. I just got paid a boatload of money.
Oh, her band has a pie gig.
Yeah.
Like that... Like, I'm watching them. I'm like... I could do this gig. I could do that. I could show up my guitar, play a bit of a piece of a song, cut, go to commercial, you rest, then you play when they come back from commercial.
And that's rare too, because there's a lot of shows like where maybe they're more of the older talk shows and stuff where the bands, like, these guys were like household names.
Mark Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer, everybody in Letterman's band, even the earlier Letterman band, before Schaefer was there. It was Stanley Jordan,
right?
Hiram Bullock, I think, and somebody else. It was a trio, and they were crazy.
Well, I just think about, not that I remember every iteration, but I think about when I was a child, I do know that I think G.E. Smith was still playing guitar for Saturday Night Live, and that band has to cook it.
He's probably was the longest running. Well, actually, no, the drummer, the guy with the funky hat.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been there forever and a day. But that band's killing too. Like that band, I would never walk into SNL and be like, oh yeah, I could do that gig. I'm a little more too humble.
What's cool is that G.E. Smith G. Smith is kind of a purist.
But anybody doesn't know, this is the blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
He's on Saturday Night Live, and he used to they always used to zoom in on him. He would like make some faces and stuff when they went to commercial.
He has an interesting look about him. He actually, to me, he always kind of looked like Glenn Campbell. For anybody who knows who Glenn Campbell is.
I can see that.
Yeah, but he's a very purist guitar player. He's real loose and funky and bluesy and has that whole kind of like Rolling Stones meets a little bit of that Steve Cropper kind of thing going on. So I always dug his guitar playing.
Yeah.
He didn't need to shred. He was tasteful. And that's what I always really enjoyed about him, especially after he was off the show and I learned more about him because I was just interested. I'm like, that's my kind of guy.
Now that band, I want to say, because Saturday Night Live is live.
Yeah.
They play the whole commercial break, but when you did the Kelly Clarkson show, the band didn't play. Would they just play out and then be like, all right, everybody stop, and then look at our watches? They play like a minute of music or whatever, and that was it?
Correct. But they also play for karaoke. They do that. I mean, they're playing live.
But that's one song.
And I suppose if they're needed for anything else, they will totally do it.
They must have to rehearse at least every day, like before or after taping for the next show, when whatever song Kelly's going to sing.
I would assume, because I mean the keyboard player is the band director, and he counts everybody in real quick, and they know it's just kind of grooves. I was trying to pay attention to see if it was actually any actual song. It's just kind of groove music.
Yep.
Just filler, but it's fun. It's really fun. But yeah, they don't play through the whole commercial break because there is too much happening on set that they have to get ready for, that they obviously just need quiet for to get ready.
Yeah, speaking of get ready, we have to get ready to wrap up this episode of From the Music Store, number 50, episode 50.
What a way to go out. I finally meet the guy, right?
Yeah. Maybe episode 100 we could get the guitar battle.
It's out there, Jeremy.
Yeah. I want to say something like,
he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude.
He seems like a really cool dude. And he also wore the most amazing suit. Look on the YouTubes for Renner on Renner. Thank you for listening to another episode of From the Music Store. This is Jason.
This is Jeremy.
And you can find us on FromTheMusicStore.com and WBNJ Sundays at 6 o'clock and on the internets, wherever you find podcasts. And we would just like to say a big fat thank you to everybody globally who's been listening. We have a wonderful growing audience, and we appreciate everything you guys
help us get to 100.
Have been doing. Yeah, we're going to get to 100. All right, have a great one.
50! 50! If you wait, stay and you'll figure me out. I know that I'm difficult, but loving you is spiritual. Thanks, God. I can be insensitive, stubborn for the hell of it.